Richard stood at the balcony of his grand mansion, his gaze lost in the horizon. The opulence surrounding him did little to fill the void in his heart. Richard was a man of immense wealth, his business empire a testament to his acumen and relentless drive. Yet, beneath the facade of success, he was haunted by a past marked by unimaginable loss. His daughter, the light of his life, had vanished years ago without a trace. The pain of her absence was a constant ache, a wound that refused to heal. Every day, he clung to the hope that somewhere, somehow, she was still alive. Elena's life had been a stark contrast to Richard's. Born into poverty, she had learned early on that the world was an unforgiving place. Despite her hardships, Elena had a resilience that was truly remarkable. She had taken on numerous jobs, each more grueling than the last, to support herself and her ailing mother. Now, she found herself standing in front of Richard's mansion, ready to start a new chapter in her life as a domestic worker. She had no idea how this job would change her life forever. Richard's motivations were deeply rooted in his undying love for his daughter. The years of searching had not diminished his hope. Instead, it had strengthened his resolve. His emotions were a complex mix of despair and determination. Every lead, no matter how small, was a beacon of hope. He had poured countless resources into finding her, leaving no stone unturned. Yet, as the years passed, the burden of not knowing had grown heavier. His heart ached with every passing day, but he never let go of the hope that one day they would be reunited. Elena's past was filled with hardship and struggle. She had grown up in a rough neighborhood, surrounded by adversity. Despite the challenges, she had always been a fighter. Her mother had been her rock, providing love and support through the darkest times. But life had been unkind, and Elena had to fend for herself at a young age. Her mother's death had left a void in her life, one that she tried to fill with work and determination. Little did she know, her true identity was shrouded in mystery, and her life was about to take an unexpected turn. When Richard and Elena first met, there was an immediate sense of familiarity, though neither could pinpoint why. Richard was struck by the simplicity and grace with which Elena carried herself. She was not like the other employees. There was something different about her. Elena, on the other hand, was taken aback by the grandeur of Richard's home and his commanding presence. She felt a strange connection to him, one that she couldn't explain. This initial encounter was just the beginning of a relationship that would unravel secrets long buried. The relationship between Richard and Elena started off professional and distant. Richard was a man of few words, his demeanor often cold and detached. Elena respected the boundaries, doing her job diligently without expecting much in return. However, there was an undercurrent of curiosity on both sides. Richard found himself drawn to Elena, intrigued by her presence and the way she reminded him of his daughter. Elena, unaware of the significance of her existence to Richard, simply saw him as a kind yet troubled employer. One day, Richard noticed a peculiar necklace that Elena always wore. It was a delicate piece, unassuming yet striking in its uniqueness. The moment he saw it, his heart skipped a beat. It was the same necklace his daughter had been wearing the day she disappeared. The sight of it brought a flood of memories and emotions crashing down on him. He was paralyzed with shock, unable to comprehend the coincidence. This was the turning point, the moment that set off a chain of events that would change their lives forever. Elena had always treasured the necklace, a gift from her adoptive mother. It was her most prized possession, a symbol of love and connection. She had no idea of its true significance or the history it carried. When Richard's reaction to seeing the necklace was one of such intensity, she was bewildered. She didn't understand why he seemed so affected by it. The mystery of the necklace began to unravel, setting the stage for revelations that neither of them could have anticipated. As days passed, Richard became increasingly obsessed with the necklace. He couldn't shake the feeling that it was more than just a coincidence. His mind raced with possibilities, each one more far-fetched than the last. He decided to investigate Elena's past, hoping to find clues that could lead him to the truth. This decision marked the beginning of a journey filled with suspense and tension. Richard's emotions were a whirlwind of hope and fear, each day bringing him closer to a revelation he was both desperate for and terrified of. Elena noticed the change in Richard's behavior. He became more attentive, often watching her with an intensity that made her uneasy. She couldn't understand why he was acting so strangely. Her confusion grew with each passing day, as did her curiosity about her own past. The relationship between them was no longer just employer and employee. It was evolving into something deeper, driven by a shared connection they were yet to discover. The mystery of the necklace loomed large, casting a shadow over their interactions and hinting at the truth that was about to be unveiled. Richard had always been meticulous about his hiring process. When he interviewed Elena for the position of a domestic worker, he found her qualifications impressive, but it was her demeanor that truly stood out. She was polite, hardworking, and had an air of quiet resilience. Richard decided to hire her on the spot, hoping she would bring a fresh sense of order to his household. Little did he know, this decision would mark the beginning of an extraordinary series of events. Elena, eager to start her new job, felt a mixture of excitement and anxiety as she stepped into Richard's mansion for the first time. On her first day, Elena woke up early, determined to make a good impression. She put on her uniform and the cherished necklace her adoptive mother had given her, a piece she never took off. As she entered the grand kitchen to begin her duties, she couldn't help but marvel at the opulence around her. Everything was pristine, a stark contrast to the humble home she had grown up in. She got to work immediately, her efficiency and dedication quickly becoming apparent to the other staff members. Her presence in the mansion was like a breath of fresh air. Richard, who usually kept to himself, decided to observe Elena's first day closely. There was something about her that intrigued him beyond her professional capabilities. As he watched her move gracefully through her tasks, he noticed the necklace she wore. His heart nearly stopped. It was the same necklace his daughter had been wearing the last time he saw her. He felt a rush of emotions: shock, hope, confusion. He couldn't believe his eyes. Richard had to sit down, the weight of the moment pressing heavily on him. Elena, unaware of Richard's reaction, continued her work. She sensed that someone was watching her, but when she turned around, she saw nothing. The mansion, despite its grandeur, felt eerie and quiet. She shrugged off the feeling and focused on her tasks, determined to prove herself. Meanwhile, Richard was in his study, grappling with the flood of memories the necklace had triggered. He had to know more about Elena, but he didn't want to scare her off with his sudden interest. He decided to approach the situation delicately. Later that evening, Richard called Elena into his study under the pretext of discussing her duties. As she entered the room, he couldn't help but notice the necklace again. It was identical in every way to the one his daughter had worn. Trying to keep his composure, Richard asked Elena about her life, her background, and eventually, the necklace. Elena, taken aback by his questions, explained that it was a gift from her adoptive mother. She had worn it every day since she was a child. Richard listened intently, his mind racing with possibilities. Richard's curiosity grew stronger with each passing moment. He knew he had to find out more about Elena's past, but he didn't want to raise any suspicions. He decided to conduct a discreet investigation, starting with the few details Elena had shared. He contacted a private investigator, explaining the urgency of the situation without revealing too much. The investigator agreed to take on the case, sensing the desperation in Richard's voice. Meanwhile, Elena continued her work, oblivious to the storm brewing around her. Days turned into weeks, and Richard's obsession with the necklace deepened. He found himself drawn to Elena, not just because of the necklace, but because she reminded him so much of his daughter. Her mannerisms, her smile, even the way she laughed brought back memories he had long buried. Richard was torn between hope and fear. What if Elena was his daughter? What if she wasn't? The uncertainty was unbearable, but he knew he had to see this through. He couldn't rest until he had answers. Elena, on the other hand, noticed the subtle changes in Richard's behavior. He seemed more attentive, more present. She couldn't shake the feeling that he was watching her, even when he wasn't around. It made her uneasy, but she chose to focus on her work. Her life had never been easy, and she was determined to make the best of this opportunity. However, she couldn't help but wonder why Richard was so interested in her necklace. She had always thought it was just a simple piece of jewelry, but now it seemed to hold a significance she didn't understand. One evening, as Elena was cleaning the living room, she found a photograph tucked away behind a stack of books. It was a picture of a young girl, wearing a necklace identical to hers. The resemblance was uncanny. Her heart raced as she realized the implications. She quickly put the photo back and tried to act normal, but her mind was buzzing with questions. Why did Richard have a photo of a girl who looked just like her? What was the connection? She needed answers, but she didn't know how to ask the questions. Richard's investigation was progressing slowly, but steadily. The private investigator had managed to uncover a few leads, but nothing concrete yet. Richard was growing impatient. He needed answers, and he needed them now. One night, as he was reviewing the investigator's latest report, he heard a noise outside his study. He opened the door to find Elena standing there, looking pale and shaken. She held up the photograph she had found earlier, her eyes filled with confusion and fear. "Who is this girl?" she asked. Richard knew the moment of truth was approaching, and he had to prepare himself for whatever came next. Richard's heart pounded in his chest as he stared at the photograph Elena held. The resemblance was undeniable. He struggled to find the right words, his mind a whirlwind of emotions. That is my daughter," he finally managed to say, his voice trembling with a mixture of hope and fear. Elena's eyes widened in shock, her grip on the photograph tightening. She had not expected this revelation. The tension in the room was palpable, a heavy silence settling between them as they tried to process the implications of this discovery. The sight of the necklace on Elena had already stirred a storm of emotions in Richard. Now, confronted with the photograph, he felt an overwhelming surge of hope. Could it be possible that after all these years, his daughter was standing right in front of him? The thought was almost too much to bear. He knew he needed to tread carefully, not wanting to scare Elena away. Richard decided to take a deep breath and approach the situation with as much calm and clarity as he could muster. Elena, on the other hand, felt a mix of confusion and fear. She had always believed that her life, though difficult, was straightforward. But now, with this new information, everything seemed uncertain. She looked at Richard, trying to read his expression, but his face was a mask of intense emotions. "I don't understand," she said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. "How could I be your daughter? My mother, she never told me anything about this." Richard felt a pang of sympathy, knowing that this was just the beginning of a long and painful journey for both of them. Richard's mind raced as he tried to piece together the puzzle. He knew that the necklace and the photograph were significant, but he needed more information. He decided to ask Elena more about her past, hoping to find clues that would confirm or deny his suspicions. "Tell me more about your life," he said gently. "Anything you remember about your childhood, your mother, where you grew up." Elena hesitated, feeling a mix of vulnerability and apprehension, but she knew she needed answers too, so she began to recount her memories. Elena's story was filled with hardship and resilience. She spoke of growing up in a small, impoverished neighborhood, her mother's unwavering love and support, and the struggles they faced together. As she spoke, Richard listened intently, noting every detail. He couldn't shake the feeling that there was a connection between their stories, something that went beyond coincidence. His heart ached for the pain Elena had endured, and he felt a renewed determination to uncover the truth, no matter how difficult it might be. As the days went by, Richard's emotions became increasingly tumultuous. The possibility that Elena could be his long-lost daughter consumed his thoughts. He found it hard to focus on anything else. his mind constantly drifting back to the necklace and the photograph. The uncertainty was almost unbearable, but he knew he had to stay strong. Richard decided to intensify his investigation, instructing the private investigator to dig deeper into Elena's past and uncover any possible connections to his daughter's disappearance. Elena, meanwhile, struggled with her own emotions. She felt a growing sense of unease and confusion, not knowing what to believe. Her heart told her that Richard's story was too incredible to be true, yet there was a part of her that longed for a connection, a sense of belonging she had never known. She continued her work at the mansion, trying to maintain a semblance of normalcy, but the weight of the situation pressed heavily on her. The more she thought about it, the more she realized that her past might not be as clear-cut as she had always believed. One night, unable to sleep, Richard found himself wandering the halls of his mansion. He stopped in front of a portrait of his daughter, her smiling face a painful reminder of the years they had lost. He clenched his fists, feeling a surge of determination. He couldn't let this opportunity slip away. He needed to confront Elena again, to dig deeper into the mystery of her past. With renewed resolve, he decided that the next day would be the day he would ask Elena about her mother, hoping to find the missing piece of the puzzle. The next morning, Richard called Elena into his study once more. She entered the room cautiously, sensing the gravity of the situation. Richard took a deep breath, his eyes locking onto hers. "Elena," he began, "I need you to tell me everything you know about your mother, where she came from, any family she might have had, anything at all." Elena felt her heart race as she recalled the memories of her mother. She began to speak, her voice steady despite the turmoil inside her. As she recounted her mother's story, Richard listened with bated breath, hoping for a revelation. Elena's story about her mother was both heartwarming and heartbreaking. She spoke of a woman who had sacrificed everything for her daughter, who had worked tirelessly to provide a better life for them. As Elena shared more details, Richard felt a glimmer of hope. There were similarities, connections that seemed too significant to ignore, but he knew they needed concrete evidence. The tension between them grew, the atmosphere charged with anticipation. Richard and Elena both understood that they were on the brink of a life-changing discovery, one that could either bring them closer together or shatter their hopes entirely. The days following their intense conversation were filled with a heavy, palpable tension. Richard couldn't shake the feeling that the truth was within reach, yet still frustratingly out of grasp. His mind was a whirlpool of emotions, the hope of a reunion with his daughter mixed with the fear of another devastating disappointment. He had the private investigator working tirelessly, scouring through records and tracing every possible lead. Each new piece of information was a potential key to unlocking the past, but the process was slow and fraught with uncertainty. Elena sensed the change in Richard's demeanor. He seemed more distracted, often lost in thought. She felt an undercurrent of tension whenever they were in the same room. Her own emotions were a tangled web of confusion and curiosity. The possibility that she might be Richard's daughter was both thrilling and terrifying. She had grown up believing she was alone in the world, and now, this revelation threatened to upend everything she had known. She couldn't help but wonder about the life she had missed out on and what it would mean to finally know the truth. Richard's investigation took on a new urgency. He combed through old photographs, documents, and even reached out to distant family members, hoping to find any clue that would confirm Elena's identity. He became more reclusive, spending hours locked away in his study. The staff whispered about the change in him, speculating about the reasons behind his sudden obsession. Elena, meanwhile, found herself drawn to Richard's study, her curiosity piqued by the mysteries hidden behind its doors. She knew she had to be patient, but the wait was agonizing. The tension between Richard and Elena grew as the days turned into weeks. Richard's emotions were a volatile mix of hope and fear. He was determined to find the truth, but terrified of what it might reveal. He often found himself staring at the photograph of his daughter, wondering if he was on the verge of a miracle or another heartbreak. Elena, on the other hand, tried to keep her composure. She continued her work diligently, but her mind was constantly preoccupied with questions about her past and her connection to Richard. One evening, Richard received a call from the private investigator. There was a breakthrough. The investigator had found records of Elena's adoptive mother, including details about her life before adopting Elena. The information was both shocking and illuminating. It pointed to a connection that Richard had hoped for but never dared to fully believe. The pieces of the puzzle were starting to come together. Richard felt a surge of adrenaline, mixed with a deep sense of relief. He knew that he was closer than ever to finding out the truth. Elena noticed the change in Richard immediately. There was a newfound intensity in his eyes, a determination that had been absent before. She couldn't ignore the feeling that something significant had happened. Richard called her into his study, his expression a mixture of hope and apprehension. "Elena," he said softly, "I think we're closer to understanding the truth about your past." Elena's heart raced as she listened to him. She had been waiting for this moment, but now that it was here, she felt a surge of fear and uncertainty. Richard shared the new information with Elena, his voice steady but filled with emotion. He explained how the records of her adoptive mother linked to his own search for his daughter. Elena listened intently, her mind reeling with the implications. The possibility that she could be Richard's daughter was becoming more real with each passing moment. She felt a mix of hope and dread, unsure of what this revelation would mean for her future. The atmosphere in the study was charged with tension, both of them standing on the brink of a life-altering discovery. As the investigation continued, Richard and Elena grew closer. Their interactions were filled with a newfound depth, a sense of shared purpose. Richard found himself confiding in Elena, sharing stories about his daughter and the pain of her disappearance. Elena, in turn, opened up about her own struggles and the life she had lived before coming to the mansion. Their bond grew stronger, built on mutual understanding and the hope of finding answers. The tension between them was palpable, but it was also tempered by a growing sense of trust and connection. The day of reckoning finally arrived. The private investigator had uncovered enough evidence to warrant a DNA test. Richard and Elena both knew that this was the moment of truth. The test results would either confirm their hopes or dash them completely. The wait for the results was excruciating, each passing day filled with anxiety and anticipation. Richard tried to stay strong, but the fear of another disappointment weighed heavily on him. Elena, too, felt the strain, her mind racing with possibilities. They both understood that their lives were about to change forever. When the results finally arrived, Richard and Elena stood side by side, their hearts pounding with anticipation. Richard opened the envelope with trembling hands, his eyes scanning the document. Tears welled up in his eyes as he read the words that confirmed their connection. Elena watched him, her own emotions a tumultuous mix of relief and joy. The truth was finally out, and it was both overwhelming and liberating. Richard turned to Elena, his eyes filled with tears. "Welcome home, my daughter," he whispered, his voice choked with emotion. Elena embraced him, her heart full of hope and a sense of belonging she had never known before. The revelation that Elena was indeed Richard's daughter sent shockwaves through both of their lives. Richard felt a mixture of joy, relief, and guilt for the years they had lost. He vowed to make up for the lost time and shower Elena with the love and care she had missed. Meanwhile, Elena struggled to process the news. She had always believed she was an orphan, and now she had a father who had never stopped looking for her. The truth was both overwhelming and exhilarating, filling her with a sense of belonging she had never known. Richard knew he had to approach the next steps with care. The confirmation of Elena's identity was just the beginning. He needed to understand the full story of how she ended up with her adoptive mother and why she had been kept from him for so long. Richard decided to confront Elena with these questions gently, knowing that the answers could be painful. He wanted to protect her from further hurt, but also knew that they both needed closure. Elena, sensing the gravity of the situation, prepared herself for another difficult conversation. One evening, Richard and Elena sat down in the study, the atmosphere heavy with anticipation. Richard looked into Elena's eyes, his expression a mix of tenderness and determination. "Elena," he began softly, "I need to know everything about your life with your adoptive mother. How did you come to be with her? What did she tell you about your past?" Elena took a deep breath, her mind racing with memories. She began to recount her life story, starting with her earliest recollections. Her voice trembled as she spoke, but Richard's presence gave her the strength to continue. Elena's adoptive mother had always been a loving and caring figure in her life. She had provided a stable and nurturing environment, shielding Elena from the harsh realities of her true origins. Elena explained how her mother had told her that she was special, chosen from a faraway place to be her daughter. There had been no mention of Richard or her real family. Richard listened intently, his heart aching for the pain and confusion Elena must have felt growing up. He realized that his search for answers was not just about finding his daughter, but also understanding the sacrifices and love that had shaped her life. As Elena delved deeper into her memories, a crucial detail emerged. Her adoptive mother had once mentioned a friend who had helped her during difficult times. This friend, Elena recalled, had been a mysterious figure who often visited and brought gifts, including the necklace. Richard's heart skipped a beat. Could this friend be the key to understanding how Elena had ended up with her adoptive mother? He decided to investigate further, hoping that this lead would provide the answers they both sought. Richard contacted the private investigator again, sharing the new information about the mysterious friend. The investigator promised to look into it immediately, sensing the urgency in Richard's voice. Meanwhile, Richard and Elena continued to bond, their relationship growing stronger with each passing day. They spent hours talking about their hopes and dreams, slowly healing the wounds of the past. Richard felt a profound sense of gratitude for having found his daughter, while Elena began to embrace her new identity and the possibilities it held. The investigation into the mysterious friend yielded unexpected results. The private investigator discovered that this friend was actually a former employee of Richard's business empire. This person had disappeared shortly after Elena's birth, raising suspicions about their involvement in her disappearance. Richard's emotions were a mix of anger and relief. He was furious that someone he had trusted could have played a role in taking his daughter away, but he was also relieved that the pieces of the puzzle were finally falling into place. He knew that he needed to confront this person to get the full story. Richard decided to track down the former employee himself, determined to uncover the truth. He shared his plan with Elena, who insisted on accompanying him. She wanted to face the person who had kept her from her real family and understand their motivations. Richard agreed, knowing that they needed to face this challenge together. They set off on their journey, both filled with a mix of hope and apprehension. The road ahead was uncertain, but they were united in their quest for answers. When they finally found the former employee, the confrontation was intense and emotional. The person admitted to their role in Elena's disappearance, revealing that they had been driven by a misguided sense of loyalty and greed. They had believed they were protecting Elena from a life of hardship, not realizing the pain they were causing. Richard and Elena listened in shock, their hearts heavy with the weight of this revelation. The truth was painful, but it also brought a sense of closure. They now understood the full story of Elena's past and could begin to heal. As they drove back home, Richard and Elena felt a renewed sense of hope and determination. They had faced the truth, no matter how painful, and come out stronger on the other side. Richard vowed to spend the rest of his life making up for the lost time, while Elena embraced her new identity and the opportunities it brought. They knew that their journey was far from over, but they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Together, they would build a future filled with love, hope, and the promise of new beginnings. The realization that Elena was Richard's daughter brought a whirlwind of emotions that neither could have anticipated. The truth, while painful, was also liberating. Richard felt a profound sense of relief and joy at having found his daughter, while Elena was overwhelmed by the discovery of her true identity. They embraced in the study, tears streaming down their faces, as years of pain and uncertainty melted away. This moment was the culmination of years of longing and searching, a reunion that filled their hearts with a sense of completeness they had longed for. In the days following the revelation, Richard and Elena began to forge a new life together. Richard introduced Elena to the family members she had never known, each meeting filled with warmth and acceptance. Elena, though initially overwhelmed, felt a growing sense of belonging. She was no longer alone in the world. She had a family who loved and cherished her. Richard watched with pride as Elena navigated these new relationships, her resilience and grace shining through. The mansion, once filled with echoes of loss, now buzzed with laughter and joy. Elena's transition into her new life was not without its challenges. She had to adjust to a lifestyle vastly different from what she had known. The grandeur of Richard's mansion, the social events, and the constant attention were all new to her. Yet, she faced each challenge with determination and an open heart. Richard, ever the doting father, supported her every step of the way. He was patient and understanding, offering guidance while giving her the space to find her own footing. Their bond grew stronger with each passing day, a testament to their shared journey. As Elena settled into her new role, she and Richard began to work on rebuilding their relationship. They spent countless hours talking about the years they had lost, sharing stories and memories. Richard told her about the day she was born, the joy she had brought into his life, and the agony of losing her. Elena, in turn, spoke of her childhood, her adoptive mother's love, and the struggles she had faced. These conversations were healing for both of them, helping to bridge the gap that had kept them apart for so long. They were not just father and daughter. They were friends, confidants, and allies. One of the most touching moments came when Richard showed Elena her childhood room, preserved exactly as it had been the day she disappeared. The room was a time capsule of love and longing, filled with toys, books, and photographs. Elena walked through the room, tears in her eyes, as she touched the remnants of her past. Richard watched silently, his heart swelling with pride and sorrow. It was a poignant reminder of the time they had lost, but also a symbol of the future they could build together. Elena promised herself to cherish every moment with her newfound family. Richard and Elena's story became an inspiration to those around them. Their journey of loss, hope, and reunion touched the hearts of many. Friends and family rallied around them, offering support and celebrating their newfound happiness. Richard's business associates, initially taken aback by his sudden change in demeanor, admired his resilience and dedication. Elena's friends, who had known her struggle, were overjoyed at her newfound joy. Their story was a testament to the power of love, the strength of family, and the unyielding hope that had kept them going. As Richard and Elena navigated their new life, they made a conscious effort to give back to the community. They established a foundation in honor of Elena's adoptive mother, aimed at supporting children in need and reuniting families separated by unfortunate circumstances. This foundation became a beacon of hope, providing resources and support to those in need. Richard and Elena worked tirelessly, their shared passion driving them forward. Their bond, forged in adversity, became a source of strength and inspiration for others. The foundation's work brought Richard and Elena even closer. They traveled together, meeting families and sharing their story. Each success story they encountered reminded them of their own journey, filling them with a sense of purpose. Richard marveled at Elena's ability to connect with people, her empathy and kindness shining through in every interaction. Elena, in turn, admired Richard's unwavering dedication and generosity. Their work was not just about giving back. It was about healing and building a legacy of love and hope. Elena's transformation was remarkable. She had gone from a life of hardship to one filled with love, purpose, and possibility. Her journey was a testament to her strength and resilience. She embraced her new life with open arms, determined to make the most of every opportunity. Richard watched with pride as Elena blossomed, her light shining brighter than ever. They had come full circle, from loss and pain to joy and fulfillment. Their story was far from over, but they faced the future with hope and determination. The final piece of their journey was the celebration of their reunion. Richard hosted a grand event at the mansion, inviting friends, family, and supporters of their foundation. It was a night of joy and reflection, a celebration of love and resilience. Richard and Elena stood together, surrounded by those who had supported them. As they looked out at the smiling faces, they felt a deep sense of gratitude. Their journey had been long and difficult, but it had brought them to this moment of triumph. They knew that, no matter what the future held, they would face it together as a family. The necklace that connected Richard and Elena was more than just a piece of jewelry. It was a symbol of their unbroken bond. Made of delicate silver, it featured an intricate design with a small, heart-shaped pendant. The pendant had tiny, intricate engravings that caught the light in a mesmerizing way. Elena often found herself touching it absent-mindedly, drawing comfort from its presence. Richard, seeing the necklace, felt a rush of emotions each time, reminded of the daughter he had lost and the miracle of finding her again. The necklace was a constant, silent witness to their journey. Richard's mansion, where Elena now lived, was a place of grandeur and elegance. The high ceilings and large windows allowed light to flood the rooms, casting a warm, golden glow. Chandeliers hung from the ceilings, their crystals sparkling like stars. Each room was meticulously decorated with rich fabrics, antique furniture, and artwork that told stories of history and beauty. The scent of fresh flowers, arranged daily by the staff, filled the air, adding a touch of natural fragrance to the luxurious surroundings. Elena felt both awe and comfort as she moved through the house, each corner a new discovery. One of the most vivid memories Richard had was the expression on Elena's face when she first saw the photograph of his daughter wearing the necklace. Her eyes widened in surprise, her lips parted in shock. The moment was charged with electricity, a pivotal point that neither could forget. Richard's heart had pounded in his chest, his mind racing with the implications. Elena's confusion and curiosity mirrored his own emotions, creating a shared moment of intense connection. The photograph, with its sepia tones and timeless quality, became a symbol of the past converging with the present. The atmosphere in the mansion shifted from one of solemnity to one of joy and celebration as Richard and Elena's relationship blossomed. The once quiet and somber halls now echoed with laughter and conversation. The staff, initially formal and reserved, warmed to Elena's presence, their smiles genuine and welcoming. The sound of music often filled the rooms, from classical pieces played on the grand piano to modern tunes that Elena enjoyed. The mansion, a silent witness to years of pain, was now alive with the sounds of a family reunited and healing. The garden outside the mansion became a sanctuary for Richard and Elena. It was a sprawling, lush space filled with blooming flowers, manicured lawns, and ancient trees that provided shade and tranquility. Richard often found peace here, the scent of roses and the sound of birds singing a soothing balm to his soul. Elena loved to explore the garden, finding hidden nooks where she could read or simply reflect. The garden symbolized growth and renewal, mirroring the journey they were on. Each visit to the garden strengthened their bond, a reminder of the beauty that could emerge from pain. Richard often found himself lost in thought in his study, surrounded by books and artifacts that held memories of his past. The room was a blend of rich mahogany and leather, with a large desk that had been his workspace for years. The study had an air of quiet introspection, the scent of old books and polished wood filling the space. It was here that Richard had spent countless hours searching for his daughter, and it was here that he now found solace in her presence. The study, once a place of solitude and sorrow, became a haven of reflection and hope. The transition from solemnity to joy was palpable during the celebration of their reunion. The mansion was adorned with lights and decorations, transforming it into a place of festivity and cheer. The aroma of delicious food wafted through the air, prepared by the best chefs Richard could hire. Guests mingled, their conversations filled with excitement and happiness. The clinking of glasses, the laughter, and the music created an atmosphere of pure joy. Richard and Elena stood at the center of it all, their hearts full as they celebrated the miracle of finding each other. Elena's memories of her past were filled with sensory details that she shared with Richard. She spoke of the small apartment she had lived in with her adoptive mother, the smell of freshly baked bread in the mornings, and the sound of rain tapping against the windows. These memories, though simple, were rich with emotion and meaning. Richard listened intently, absorbing every detail. He shared his own memories with her, the scent of his daughter's favorite flowers, the sound of her laughter. These shared stories created a tapestry of their lives, woven together with threads of love and loss. One of the most moving moments came when Elena discovered her childhood room, preserved just as it had been the day she disappeared. The room was filled with toys, books, and photographs that told the story of a happy childhood. The scent of lavender, her favorite, still lingered in the air. Elena touched the toys and books, tears streaming down her face as memories flooded back. Richard stood by her side, his heart aching with the bittersweetness of the moment. The room was a poignant reminder of the time they had lost, but also a testament to the enduring love that had brought them back together. The bond between Richard and Elena was not just emotional, but also sensory. They often found comfort in small, shared moments, sipping tea in the garden, walking through the mansion, or simply sitting in silence. These moments were filled with sensory details that enriched their connection. The warmth of the sun, the scent of blooming flowers, the sound of rustling leaves. All these elements created a backdrop for their relationship. Richard and Elena's journey was a sensory experience, a reminder that love and connection could be found in the simplest of moments. Richard's story had always been one of profound loss and relentless hope. The audience felt a deep empathy for him, understanding the depth of his pain and the unwavering determination to find his daughter. His journey resonated with many, reminding them of their own struggles and the power of hope. Richard's vulnerability, his moments of despair, and his resilience created a connection with the audience that was both heartfelt and genuine. Each time he shared his story, listeners felt his pain, his hope, and ultimately, his joy in finding Elena. Elena's journey was equally compelling. Her life had been marked by hardship, yet she had emerged strong and resilient. The audience sympathized with her struggles and admired her strength. Elena's story was one of survival, love, and discovery. Her experiences, from growing up in poverty to discovering her true identity, were filled with emotional highs and lows that drew the audience in. They felt her confusion, her pain, and her ultimate joy in reuniting with her father. Elena's vulnerability and strength made her a relatable and inspiring figure. Richard and Elena's reunion was a moment of profound emotional impact. The audience could feel the weight of the years of separation and the overwhelming joy of their reunion. Richard's tears of relief and Elena's embrace were powerful images that lingered in the minds of the audience. This moment of vulnerability and raw emotion created a deep connection with the viewers, who felt like they were part of this miraculous reunion. The story of their reunion was a testament to the enduring power of love and hope, leaving a lasting impression on everyone who heard it. Throughout their journey, Richard and Elena shared many moments of vulnerability. Richard's recounting of his years of searching, the sleepless nights, and the endless days of hope and despair resonated deeply with the audience. Elena's stories of her struggles, her moments of doubt, and her ultimate discovery of her true identity were equally powerful. These moments of honesty and vulnerability allowed the audience to connect with Richard and Elena on a personal level, feeling their pain and joy as if it were their own. The shared emotional experiences created a bond between the storytellers and the listeners. The bond between Richard and Elena was evident in every interaction. Their relationship was built on mutual respect, love, and a shared history of loss and hope. The audience could see the deep connection between them, forged through their shared journey. Richard's protective nature and Elena's trust created a dynamic that was both touching and inspiring. The way they supported each other, their shared moments of joy and sorrow, and their unwavering commitment to each other resonated deeply with the audience, who felt invested in their story and their future. One of the most touching aspects of Richard and Elena's story was their ability to find joy amidst the pain. The audience admired their resilience and their ability to find happiness in the simplest of moments. Whether it was a shared cup of tea in the garden, a walk through the mansion, or a quiet conversation in the study, these moments of joy and connection were deeply moving. The ability to find light in the darkest of times was a powerful message that resonated with the audience, reminding them of the importance of hope and love. The transformation that both Richard and Elena underwent was a central theme that captivated the audience. Richard's journey from a grieving father to a man filled with hope and purpose was inspiring. Elena's transformation from a struggling young woman to a beloved daughter and confident individual was equally powerful. These transformations, filled with emotional highs and lows, created a dynamic and engaging narrative. The audience was drawn into their journey, feeling the pain, joy, and growth alongside Richard and Elena. The impact of Richard and Elena's story extended beyond their personal journey. Their story of loss, hope, and reunion touched the lives of everyone who heard it. The audience felt a deep sense of empathy and compassion, inspired by their resilience and love. Richard and Elena's decision to give back to the community through their foundation added another layer of emotional connection. The audience admired their commitment to helping others and saw them as symbols of hope and inspiration. Their story was a reminder of the power of love and the importance of giving back. Richard and Elena's moments of joy and celebration were a testament to their journey. The audience felt a profound sense of happiness as they watched Richard and Elena build their new life together. The grand celebration at the mansion, filled with laughter, music, and joy, was a culmination of their journey. The audience could feel the joy and relief in the air, sharing in the happiness of Richard and Elena's reunion. These moments of celebration were a powerful reminder of the enduring power of love and the importance of family. The story of Richard and Elena was a journey of emotional depth and transformation. The audience felt a deep connection to their story, experiencing the highs and lows alongside them. Richard's unwavering hope and Elena's resilience were inspiring, creating a narrative that was both touching and powerful. The emotional connection between Richard, Elena, and the audience was palpable, leaving a lasting impression on everyone who heard their story. The journey of Richard and Elena was a testament to the power of love, the strength of family, and the enduring hope that can overcome any obstacle. As Richard and Elena's incredible journey came to a close, it was clear that their story had touched the hearts of many. Their path from loss and pain to reunion and joy was a testament to the enduring power of love and hope. Their bond, forged through shared struggles and triumphs, was a beacon of inspiration. The story of their reunion was more than just a personal victory. It was a reminder that even in the darkest times, there is always a glimmer of hope. Their journey had not only transformed their lives, but also left an indelible mark on everyone who heard it. To our viewers, we invite you to continue on this journey of love, hope, and transformation. Click on the next story appearing on your screen to witness another tale that will touch your heart and inspire your soul. Let curiosity guide you as you delve into the next chapter of our storytelling series. Each story is crafted to evoke deep emotions and provide a glimpse into the resilience of the human spirit. If you believe in the power of these stories and want to continue experiencing the best emotional narratives, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. By doing so, you'll be the first to know when we release new stories, ensuring you never miss a moment of inspiration. Additionally, in the pinned comment, you'll find a link to buy me a coffee. Your contributions help us bring you more of these heartwarming and compelling stories daily. We thank you for being a part of our community and for sharing in these beautiful journeys. Your support and engagement mean the world to us, and we look forward to continuing this journey together. Stay tuned for more stories that remind us all of the power of love, the importance of family, and the enduring hope that can light up our lives.